Before I play the video that I want to share with you all, I want to give you a few of my thoughts. I apologize if I wander off because I am not able to write a script right now. It's about 2:42 a.m. and I have dozed off a number of times trying to write a script. But this is the only time that I have to record, so I'm just going to have to just forget about the script and just get this out of the way. To my new viewers and subscribers, I'm sure you will notice that I have a lot of videos that are hard to understand at first glance. I don't yet have a video that explains my position completely, and so it may seem like the things that I am saying are really half-baked ideas. But I assure you that I have done a great deal of study on this, and I just would like to encourage you to be patient. I would encourage you to look at as much as you can before you make your judgment, and I hope that you will find that the information here is true. So I believe that people are becoming more aware of the existence of the goddess and the sacred feminine, and a lot of people have questions about what this is. And in my opinion, and I believe I have given enough evidence on this channel to support this opinion, this goddess that we are seeing being unveiled is the one that is called in the Bible Babylon the Great. She's much more than a city, a state, a false religion, or any of that. It's a spirit, and that spirit is the spirit of whoredoms mentioned in Hosea 4:12 and Hosea 5:4. So there are two witnesses to that. And this woman is riding the beast. She is the Queen of Heaven, so called. And she's always been there under our noses, but now is the time where she is being unveiled. I'm going to present to you a number of video clips from both of my channels, Babylon Watch and Daylight Riders, to accompany the video that I want to share with you from another channel. And one of the beliefs in the occult world, or the let's just say the esoteric world, the woman of Revelation 12, the righteous woman, and the woman of Revelation 17, the great whore, are actually the same woman. So when you see a duplicate of a woman, one being a whore or just being completely opposites, in esoteric speak, they're actually the same woman. They're just two sides of the same coin. So like the moon has a light and a dark side, you have the light bearing virgin, the light bearer, the Luciferian side, and then you have the light bearing mother, the mother of God, and then you have the black virgin, the black Madonna.
In the myth of St. George, the dragon of darkness attacks the village and carries off the beautiful princess. Then along comes the hero, St. George, who vanquishes the dragon and frees the princess. But in the earlier versions of this story, the dragon is the terrible aspect of the princess herself. so the hero is actually saving the princess from her own alter ego. In the later versions, the innocent princesses and fair maidens are often victimized by an ugly witch. And yet the witch, the devouring hag, and the ogress, like the dragon, all represent the alter ego, or terrible aspect, of the princess herself. And while the witch may soar across the sky with disheveled or flaming hair, she also takes the form of a serpent or fire-breathing dragon when she grows wrathful. It was said of the witch's hair that it could bring rain, hail, wind, and lightning, exactly what ancient nations said of the comet. The princess of folk legends is a descendant of the more archaic goddess figures. The earlier goddess has a dual nature, as radiant mother and devouring dragon. The goddess Kali of the Hindus was renowned for her beauty. But in her terrible aspect, her long disheveled tresses stretched across the heavens, blackening the sky, sweeping away the sun and the stars. We encounter surprisingly similar images in the goddess Coatlicue of the Aztecs, the Sumerian Inanna, Egyptian Hathor, Canaanite Astarte, Greek Gorgon, Hindu Rangda, and in the medieval witch, the most popular later caricature of the angry or lamenting goddess. Was the terrible goddess a spectacular, fear-inspiring cometary stream? Our word for comet comes from the Greek word coma, used for long, flowing hair. The torch, the flame, streamers, streaming feathers, various symbols of brooms, whisks, and flails. Around the world, these images signify both the angry goddess and the doomsday comet. The land of Sumer, a cradle of civilization in ancient Mesopotamia. A prototype of the early goddess figure is the Sumerian Inanna. The texts describe her as a great dragon called the pure torch that flares in the sky. Inanna herself declares, "I was the blazing, the brilliant fire. I was the fire whose flame and sparks rained down on the rebel land. I was the conflagration that shone forth in the heavens when the heavens shook and the earth trembled and quaked." Who then was this comet-like goddess, Inanna? For the very first astronomers of ancient Mesopotamia, the goddess Inanna is not an unknown cometary intruder. She is a planet. The planet Venus. In later Babylonian astronomy, the planet Venus was still remembered as the lamenting star. It was called the witch star. In the Americas, Aztec histories remembered Venus as the great feathered serpent, and they called Venus the smoking star, the very phrase they used for a comet. The stargazers of Peru knew Venus as Chasca, the long-haired star, the most common phrase for the comet among ancient peoples. But the goddess wore two faces. Before she acquired her terrible aspect, she shone in the sky with awe-inspiring beauty. We came to know the goddess as the Greek Aphrodite, the Latin Venus, daughter of heaven, the prototype of the beautiful princess. One of her names was Aphrodite Kumaethel, the long-haired or fiery-haired Aphrodite. In the language of ancient astronomy, Aphrodite Kumaethel means the comet Venus. The Greeks and Romans shared the tradition of an archetypal comet of extraordinary beauty, radiating its hair in all directions. This was the Roman portrait of that comet, a symbol of celestial power and glory. Its name was the Star of Venus. So we're not just dealing here with princesses and angry goddesses and serpent dragons that turn out to be the doomsday comet. We are confronting the mythical parent of comets, a comet inspiring both veneration and dread, a comet that turns out to be a planet, Venus.
And when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment come, which the Lord of spirits hath prepared for those who worship not the righteous law, and for those who deny the righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain, that day is prepared. For the elect a covenant, but for the sinners an inquisition. When the punishment of the Lord of spirits shall rest upon them, it shall rest in order that the punishment of the Lord of spirits may not come in vain. And it shall slay the children with their mothers, and the children with their fathers. Afterwards the judgment shall take place according to his mercy and his patience. And on that day were two monsters parted, a female monster named Leviathan, to dwell in the abysses of the ocean, over the fountains of the waters. But the male is named Behemoth, who occupied with his breast a waste wilderness named Dudain, on the east of the garden, where the elect and righteous dwell, where my grandfather was taken up, the seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Lord of spirits created. And I besought the other angel that he should show me the might of those monsters, how they were parted on one day and cast, the one into the abysses of the sea, and the other into the dry land of the wilderness. And he said to me, Thou son of man, herein thou dost seek to know what is hidden.
Isaiah 27 verse 1. In that day the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Now here we get an undeniable connection between Leviathan, the serpent, the crooked serpent, and the dragon. In basically one verse we have the whole basically I guess you could say the silver bullet. There's no denying that they are all the same. So Leviathan, taken from blueletterbible.com, it's a wreath animal, a serpent, especially the crocodile or some other large sea monster. But see, there is mostly a consensus that there's no way it could be a crocodile, especially as it's mentioned that it breathes fire. So figuratively, the constellation of the dragon, Hydra, as we just saw on the last page, also a symbol of Babylon. So the dragon is also a symbol of Babylon. Leviathan, morning, sea monster, dragon. Knowing that the Leviathan is also the serpent and the dragon, when we see a name given to one of these entities in the Holy Bible, we can presume that the name applies to them all. We've also seen scripture verses in our Bible that mirror or feel similar to parts of the Babylonian creation story. It's not to say that the Bible is a plagiarism of the Babylonian stories, but that there might be a single grain of truth somewhere in the Babylonian epics. Isaiah 51 verse 9 to demonstrate the similarities here. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in the ancient days, in the generations of old. Art thou not it that hath cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? So we have a name given to the dragon, Rahab. It is a masculine noun. That's why Rahab would be, Rahab, I suppose would be referred to in a masculine way because of grammatical gender, even though we do have a harlot named Rahab in the Bible. But we are given a detail that she is a female, so that she would be called a she. So Rahab, under in the concordance that I found in the Blue Letter Bible, Rahab is also known as a mythical sea monster. From the JewishEncyclopedia.com, Rahab, originally a mythical name designating the abyss or the sea, subsequently applied to Egypt. That's in Job chapter 9 verse 13 and chapter 26 verse 12, indicate that it is an alternative for Tiamat. Now this came from the JewishEncyclopedia.com. The Babylonian name of the dragon of darkness and chaos. Psalms is 89 verse 9 also indicates that Rahab is the name applied to the sea monster, the dragon. So Rahab, meaning the abyss or the sea, is an alternative for Tiamat, the Babylonian Tiamat. It must be noted that the Jewish exegetes deprived the word Rahab of its mythological character and explained it as merely an equivalent for arrogance, noise, or tumult, applied both to the roaring of the sea and to the arrogant noisiness and proud boasting of the Egyptians. So what they're saying is, at the Jewish Encyclopedia, is that we'll see in the Bible that the word Rahab has been reduced in definition to arrogance or noise or tumult, but they say that I suppose originally it was taken as the equivalent of the Babylonian Tiamat. From Wikipedia, Rahab takes the meaning of primeval, chaotic, multi-headed sea dragon or Leviathan. It can be assumed that long before the Jewish mythos, the ancient Jews emulated the creation fables told by their predecessors. The Babylonians, for example, told of a thunder god, Marduk, and a sea beast, Tiamat, battling for supreme power over the other gods and the Enuma Elish. It can be speculated these two characters in the Babylonian myth are parallel to the creation stories found in the biblical passages containing the name Rahab. From GoddessInspired.wordpress.com, fertility in life is how the goddess manifests herself on earth. In most cases, Sexuality is the means by which fertility and thus new life comes about. In order to honor Inanna and to help keep the earth a rich and flourishing place, her priestesses would reenact the sacred act of lovemaking with Inanna's worshippers at her temples. When Sumer, with her long-hidden secrets, was discovered not so long ago, the worldview of archaeologists and anthropologists was clouded by Christian teachings, who misunderstood the sacred role of the Hierodule and called Inanna's priestesses temple prostitutes or harlots. And the note added by me is the Queen of Heaven is the original mother of harlots. Inanna is the Queen of Heaven, her celestial manifestations being the moon and the planet Venus. Like Isis in Egypt, the star Sirius is sacred to her, as are the constellations Virgo and Scorpio. Inanna is also known as the dragon, and is depicted as such with venom spewing from its mouth. From angelfire.com, under Inanna, Ishtar could be identified with Tiamat, the dragon, thus making her the oldest deity of all, the mother of all the other gods and goddesses. She is also perhaps the most paradoxical of the gods. Her central mystery is that she is the patron of both love and war. So once again we see her duality. Your queen is Inanna, the great dragon who speaks inimical words to the evil, who goes against the enemy's land. Like a dragon, you have deposited venom on the land. When you roar at the earth like thunder, no vegetation can stand up to you. A flood descending from its mountain. O foremost one, you are the Inanna, or goddess, of heaven and earth, raining the fanned fire down upon the nation, endowed with maize by An, lady mounted on a beast. All of the above texts are among the oldest literature in the world, written around 2350 BCE. Moreover, they were written by Enheduanna, a woman, the first known author in history. Well, I hope you all gain something out of that as I continue to attempt to expose this goddess and how she has been hidden throughout our lives and in many different ways and forms. And I have to admit that I shy away from saying it sometimes because I believe that people are not quite ready for it and they may turn me off. But this is Lucifer that we're dealing with here. This goddess is associated with Venus, and therefore she is Halel. She is the morning star. She is Lucifer. And so as much as I shy away from saying that for fear of being ridiculed or receiving negativity in response, I should actually not be so hesitant to say things as they are. So I will try not to be so hesitant from now on, and I will try to be a little more bold in my speech. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening, and Jesus bless you.
So with the help of Cortana, I'm fueled up and ready to make my meeting on time.
There's an accident on 520 that will make you late for your 9 a.m. meeting. Would you like me to let the other attendees know and connect you when it starts?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll let you know.
From Wikipedia under Cortana, Curtana, the meaning attributed to Cortana and the other two British coronation swords shifted over time. During Henry IV, meanings were assigned to the swords of the coronation ceremony, but initially, Cortana was said to signify the sword of justice. Eventually, however, Cortana's blunt edge was taken to represent mercy, and thus it became known as the Sword of Mercy, as it is known today. Cortana's designation as the Sword of Mercy goes at least as far back as Henry IV's coronation. And so I see in this one sword both justice and mercy signified. And in the symbolism of the name Cortana, which is based off of Cortana, we have both justice and mercy also signified.
Read my note from today.
Okay, I found this note. Your note from today says, Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment. That's all.